Hello there, people. Welcome to a video where I play Pac-Man Museum Plus, because I don't know, why not, I guess. And there's no IO because why not, I guess. Listen, I'm doing this because I just wanted to, talk about something a bit more interesting about myself, and perhaps about the very situation that I currently reside in. You know what I mean? Because this is a topic that I feel like I just need to make a video on, because it is a very much a sub. I'm just gonna let's not waste any more time and actually get into what I'm talking about. That is why I didn't really get into why I didn't get an 8th generation console until 2024. Actually, it's more like why my dad didn't, because I don't think it's my dad who just got this. Cause I still live in my dad's house for a reason. You see, firstly, Tennessee around here is it's not necessarily the place like California is. And if you know that place, for its extremely rich neighborhood, extremely rich houses, I guess you directly get paid a lot more there as well. It's that's where all the real rich stuff comes from. It's real rich people live in. Fortunately, this place is not necessarily that at all, really. It's more like frickin' so it's filled with less people like them, more like the lower class individuals like me. You don't get really whose jobs are not as well paying, not as well It's usually for the case of my dad, because I didn't have a job because I can't freaking I'm not only qualified for stacking, even that's not necessarily feel like it's gonna work for me. And there's also the fact it's we have consoles that are over freaking $400. Sure, it's just above full price, but for most of us it's that's a hefty price around here. It's you don't salary's not that high around here, and as opposed to California, where the prices are could be a fair bit higher over there. And also that oh my god, I'm just reading myself. Let's get to one other particular reason for that. That being that okay, yeah, you know what? It also has a lot to do with the money. So, because it's firstly, you have to pay for the console, which is for the price is a bit steep for us, but not necessarily unjustifiable. It's justifiable. That also goes for the games, $60. That's justifiable, but it's also perhaps kind of the prices. The rest of Tennessee is it can be a bit steeper, because a lot of this area is a bit on the lower income side of things. But there is also the. But that's not all of it. That's not just all of it. There's also the whole thing of literally having to there's all DLC and stuff, paid DLC, for instance. Maybe I could get something like that. I kind of get it, but at the same time, there are moments where the DLC in question, why wasn't this in the base game in the first place? It's it's freaking stupid. There are certain things out there, say, certain there's this game called Lord of the Rings Gollum, if you don't know that, where you have to pay exorbitant prices for lore accurate dialogue, which is stupid. It's really stupid. Why the heck would you have to, like, pay extra for that stupid stuff alongside a stupid game in general? But, like, also, there's also the whole, like, but also you have to pay, like, wait a minute. There's another thing about, like, DLC. So, like, it also could theoretically justify an unfinished game of sorts. You know how, like, certain games are just left unfinished and completely broken on release? Like, Fallout 76, Cyberpunk 2077, No Man's Sky. You know what freaking... And I bet you GTA 6 is going to be the same thing. Yeah. Like, heck, freaking... Like, Anthem. Yeah, I can definitely see Anthem as well. Yeah, those games are, like, very unfinished, and I can definitely see that, like, you know, DLC is probably just done just thinking, you know, maybe patch the game later because they're too lazy to actually, you know, make the game complete or whatever. But I don't... Maybe it's not necessarily most of the developers at fault here. It's not really them at fault for the most part. It's like, it's mostly the corporate executives who just want, like, a game done, like, real fast, and, like, they're just unjustifiably being like, you have to make this game in, like, a year or so. Maybe we'll patch it later. Who cares if it's incomplete on release? Which, like... Jeez, you know, back in the old days when a game was incomplete and unfinished and terrible because of that, like, say, Baker's Over the Road Racing, no, there were consequences. That game would become infamous at some points. Either forgotten or absolutely just infamous at the time. Games like Action 52, Superman 64, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, what else? Super Double Dragon, Return of Double Dragon. And there's what else is like Squidge. Okay, that one's actually, you know, intentionally written poorly. So, no, those kind of games would have became infamous back in the day for being unfinished disasters. But now with DLC, you can just, you know, make the game unfinished because, you know, there's gonna be patches later on that will fix some of it, even though it should have already been fixed in the first place. So that's where the prices become really unjustifiable, especially if the DLC is probably paid. Like, you know what else? Is, you know, like, that's ain't. Those aren't really the only other reasons. There's, like, one other reason out there that I can, like, think of, which is like all of, like, the stupid hyper realism that, like, AAA games really like to just use and abuse a lot for just, you know, money, because, like, apparently that's the frickin' apparently, and also, you know how it started as sort of like a video games are art sort of like argument, because, like, you know, when the game's hyper realistic, it means probably, you know, setting up for video games being art. It's like, I mean, I get it with Uncharted was sort of the starting point of this kind of stuff, but, like, back in the day, it was a novelty. But I just think that, like, as time went on and the 7th generation kept going on, those games just started becoming way more common. And, like, as a result, it just started to become less of a novelty and more like just, nothing really. Just your average blandness. You know what I mean? And as time went... And I think, like, The Last of Us in particular was, like, the tipping point. That was when things really got out of hand. And the whole trend just started to just... become a much worse thing as time went on. It's like that, because, like, once that game came out and became a hot seller, you bet that there would be so many companies trying to capitalize on the whole hyper-realistic train, the hyper-realistic bandwagon, so to speak. And nowadays there's just so many of them. So much of that bland crap. Most of it follows a formula, being like open world, like filled with bunch of like things or random, like just almost nothing. They're open world, but they're almost filled with nothing. That's how it just. It's like a bunch of hyper-realistic grass, hyper-realistic rocks, hyper-realistic trees, freaking. Just every single emotion just goes into like the uncanny valley. And it's just like. There's almost nothing to hyper-realistic style. Because it's almost not really an art style at this point. It feels like it's almost just into like. Just became like a cash grab sort of thing. Where it's like. You know, at least when like last episode Creepypastas did like hyper-realistic blood. It was like. Sure, it was like garbage and such, but I don't think it was like meant to be like, you know, like money or whatever. It was just done because like, you know, either like some random kid made it, who was like probably like really crap at doing a creepypasta, or just a horror story in general, or which is like in some like troll, just, you know, like making satire. Which like, yeah, I can kind of see satire. It works, but. Nonetheless, when, you know, like, the gaming industry got a hold of the hyper-realism thing, they really started to hold on to it as, like, a money sort of thing. They didn't care about, like, whether or not hyper-realism was a thing that was needed. Like, they didn't care, like, not that at all. Like, with games like Skate, I can see what they were going on with the realism, because, like, it's to be, like, a realistic depiction of skateboarding. But but then you get stuff like frickin'. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna talk about. Frickin'. What was that game? My god. I can't remember for the life of me because just keeps. You know what? That's the thing. When all the games are just hyper realistic garbage, they keep like frickin' blending in with each other. To me. Like, you know. And that's the sad thing. I can, you know, recognize Atari 2600 games, despite the fact that the graphics are, like, you know, barely much. But when all the hyper-realistic games are just almost the same thing, open world garbage experiences, makes you think to yourself, why? It's like, it's almost to the point that it just makes me glad I just didn't bother. Because it already started being a problem with the 7th generation. But then it's like, you know, you have all this. Then once the 8th gen came around, that's where the crap really started to just hit the fan. All started to just get worse and worse and worse. And combined with all the DLC and whatever else, like microtransactions, stupid freaking microtransactions, all that stuff. It just like. Just starts to really get it to you. You know what I mean? Starts to just come solace. Because, man, I remember a time when, video games were colorful. And that time was, like, before my time. Because I was sadly born into the 7th generation. That was around that time period, and, well. Because at least because, you know, if there's one thing about Nintendo. And how, like, awfully greedy they've become. Especially in large part because of, like, the Switch 2. But, like, you know, at the very least, they make colorful video games. Their games are, like, colorful and cartoony and well done instead of being, like, you know. Because, like, you have, like. At the very least, you can actually say they're colorful and cartoony, you know. At least they're trying to have some sort of like style instead of just relying on hyperrealism just for the sake of hyperrealism. And like, oh man, that's another thing. Because like, at least with Nintendo, I can say that at least Nintendo's games are more than likely at least quality tested. Like, they're well made, they're well produced, they're actually good games. That because like the developers were actually given time to make good video games instead of just being told to just make another freaking crappy open world sandbox game. Whatever, because like that's what sells. I guess. Even though like Donkey Kong Bonanza has been shown to actually at least have some selling, so there's at least a market for that kind of stuff. And also indie games, those games are selling despite not having realistic graphics, because they're actually good games as opposed to the kind of and then there's the whole freaking starting and then there's the whole freaking how I think there's another thing, that being I just started to have a general interest in retro gaming, because how the PS3 once had these downloadable titles that were available, and they still are for the PS4 and PS5, but now the PS3 store is more or less kind of just don't really have had any ever since 2020, maybe they still haven't, I don't know, but back in the day, downloadable titles meant something cool sort of mini games that, and among those collections was stuff release of Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Golden Axe. That got me interested in the olden games. I was like, what is this stuff? I want to know more of them. And as a result, I got not that at Game Genesis. That's the fourth one I had, and that's because I got really interested in retro gaming. I was like, what the heck is all this stuff? I want to know more about it. So I was like, hey, this. Oh my god, I'm just starting to this is why I can't have a video like this all that much, because it starts go in my head what I'm meant to say, because it starts to just freaking blend it all together, because it's my brain just keeps thinking all the time, non-stop. There is no oh my god, why do I have, what's up with me? Why am I doing this? When I freaking, oh my god, what's that freaking pack, oh, it's the same. What's my point? What was my freaking point? I keep losing the plot. Oh yeah, freaking, video games are they're actually, Right, so here's the thing about, once you learn about, retro video games, you start to realize that, there are some things where, video games, you start to understand. How, a lot of things have been like this for a while, like crappy cash-in titles, license games in particular, are, coming back, actually. And presumably they, never actually left in the first place. And then there's, the whole, frickin', oh my god, what point am I saying? God, frickin'. Probably I was trying to get on this thing. God, thank you. Now, there is this other problem of sorts that. Oh my god, I'm trying to think of it for a second. My brain just keeps ticking on and off every 10 seconds. What the heck is going on? Is this what ADHD feels like? Because I might have ADHD and my brain just keeps turning on and off every second. Now, this is a problem with having a brain so. Now, maybe this is a problem with having a slow brain. It just keeps. I have a brain that just keeps slowing down. It's like. Is my brain running on frickin' MS-DOS 1? Is it running on frickin'? That's an insult to MS-DOS. Is it running on frickin' 0.0 megahertz? 0.03 megahertz or something? I swear to you, I just cannot possibly. Otherwise, it cannot possibly consider the fact that it's the slow frame rates or whatever. I almost lost the plot at that point. I lose my train of thought so often. I swear to. I tried keeping the point, but whatever point there was just long gone by then. Oh yeah, I was about to say retro. Like the more you learn about retro games, you realize that some things are kind of still the same today. They're just freaking. Great climate. Yeah. Because once you learn more about retro games, you realize that quite a fair bit of problems have been around for a while. They're just not as pronounced. Just that the internet wasn't really a thing, really that much of a convenient thing back then. So and therefore a lot of the stuff could be, and also that a lot of the stuff wasn't as outrageous as it is nowadays. It's we learn about how the you have companies that are just rushing developers to finish a game in a matter of time. A lot of time, and you also have however, there is also there were attempts at DLC from before then, and also microtransactions. But however, though, as time went on and technology started to evolve, those things became way more common, way worse, and way freaking more depressing and just plain. Ugh. And then there's all of the freaking the realistic graphics. Because back in the day, realistic graphics theoretically meant a novelty. It's back in the day, you never really saw them all that much. It was games like Flashback. When the PS1 did realistic graphics and the PS4 as well, there was a charm to it because it wasn't really to an actual point that it looked realistic. It looked realistic at the time, but nowadays you can see it's sort of a charming bit of graphics. It's it still looked blocky, it still looked rather blurry, it still didn't necessarily look actually realistic, and as a result, there's kind of a charm to it. The PS2 got the more realistic graphics, but at that point it was I'm just talking about other points again. My PS2 graphics got a bit more realistic, but there was still a sense of whimsy in terms of the graphics. It was not as realistic as it would come later on. It only became a real problem later on when the 7th generation came along, and they started really taking the whole realistic hype train. And you want to know another problem as to why I didn't go to the 8th gen, because this is another problem that the 7th gen just introduced, that being the whole architecture starting to become way more similar, and that's that was already kind of a problem with the 6th gen of sorts, because the PS2 games from Xbox, they all had fair bit similar architecture to some extent, but that was not really the case most of the time. It was the PS1, the Sega Saturn, they all had very different architecture. The PS2 game and Xbox, they had fair bit different architecture. But then you get the PS3 versus Xbox 360, and they have almost quite similar architecture. Well, the Wii was a GameCube twice the power, which was actually different architecture. That's the thing. The Wii and Wii U, they at least had different architecture from the other consoles. They had the PS4 and Xbox One, which were so similar that they might as well just be the same console. Now you have the PS5 and Xbox Series X, which have very similar hardware, almost no variety to them. It's why would you bother having one or the other when it's all just the same garbage anyway? the point of all that? You know what the actual point is? Freaking. The actual point isn't. The actual point is that like. It's like it's nothing more than just. Oh my god! Ah! Freaking. Can't talk about I'm doing this. It's just. I'm going nuts, ain't I? Just, when like the architecture of each console starts to get similar, it makes you wonder like why the heck are you paying for like this one console? You just get the other consoles, mostly get the same kind of games. But actually, there's a reason why. It's because like peace. It's all just this. Because it's all the brand recognition. That's why, and also the exclusive games. Well, guess what? Apparently not even that matters anymore because of frickin'. Well, guess what? Apparently, not even that matters anymore because like Forza Horizon and MLB The Show, they're starting to become multi-platform games. I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Why are they on PS? Why is Forza Horizon on like PS? Why is Forza Motorsport on like PS5? Switch to it's like, frick, why? Why would you do that? What the heck's the point, Microsoft? Honestly, I didn't get why Microsoft was console in the first place, but at least they tried to have something original to their name. Like they had Halo, they had Gears of War, they had Forza Motorsport, they had Gotham Street Racing. Where it's like at least they had something. I don't get freaking like the once you start going like multi-platform, like sure with Minecraft made sense since it was originally just a third-party game, but like once you start putting your own properties on like other consoles, it starts to make you wonder like what the heck's the point of your console. That's also the case with like freaking like what the heck's the point of all that? It's so pointless that I don't even know what that could actually justify what they're doing. There's also the whole like what else is also can't talk today, can I? Because like oh my god, stop please, oh my god. Let my brain process for like half a second. Oh my god, this time just lose my soul. Just talking about these games is making me lose my freaking mind. Just talking about these games is making me lose my freaking mind. Oh, there's nothing there. Freaking Jesus. Going where? Oh my god. Why am I doing this on this is like freaking Jane talks like getting depressed and like I have to do this myself. I'm like trying to get to the point, but I can't get to the point because my brain's just so slow. It cannot render more than 12 frames a second. I feel like that's probably why I keep pausing videos because like my brain cannot just freaking process stuff in like more than like 12 frames a second. Oh my god. Oh my god. Please get me out of here. Please fuck the freaking gas. Just give me. Please. Please. Oh my god, stop talking. Oh my god, just... This is what happens when you try to, like, do this unscripted. It's like... My brain just overly... Can't help myself, but just freaking... I cannot talk for over, like, 30 minutes. Because, like... No, the problem is I have so much on my mind, but I can't talk all of it, like, all the time. Because it's like, you start talking... Why did I do that? Why did I do this? My brain is collapsing as I speak. I'm starting to... Where was I going with this? Where was I going with any of this? Where was I going with my brain? I need is there an explosion effect? Just I need to script this. Oh my god, I need to have a freaking point to all this. I'm just trying to I cannot have a conversation with people. That's it. That's the thing. I just cannot have a conversation with people. Because, like, my brain cannot render frames. My brain cannot render for, like... Each time I have to render a thought, it's like a minute. Maybe it's, like, not my brain. It's not my mouth. It's my mouth that's the problem. It's like... It cannot... Maybe it cannot, like, transcript what I have in my mind to actual words that can be spoken for, like, a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? But actually, no, maybe that's, like, not just the... Because when you have, like, a conversation with me, there's a real good chance I'm just going to stutter so much that it's just going to destroy... It's just going to clearly disregard anything I ever say in my entire life. Because I cannot have a coherent conversation without just stuttering so much. So what was I actually going to be talking about again? Because I swear I just keep forgetting everything I say ever. I would just forget everything. I'm just like... Where's my brain going to? Where did I go? Where did my life go to? Where did my world go to? Where did everybody go? I'm slowly realizing that the more I talk, more insane I get. I'm starting to just consider myself not. Where was I going with this? Where was I going with anything? Where was I going with all of society's problems? I lost the plot already. I'm freaking... This game's making me lose my mind! Oh my god, I cannot look... I'm gonna need to play something that's way more relaxing than this. I'm just... my brain just slowly just turned into mush because of fucking... How was I even get into it again? I just keep forgetting because I cannot have a actual conversation with someone. Like, I just end up freaking death row or something else. Like, what was I even talking about again? I keep forgetting all the time. I cannot look. Alright, right. It was about, like, video games and stuff. Frickin'... I cannot frickin' speak to people. It's why I don't talk to people. It's because, like... I see. So there's a puzzle. Freaking yippee. What was I even gonna talk about again? Because I swear I keep missing every time. My brain just turns to mush. You know what? Actually, maybe that's why I kind of stopped. Kind of didn't want to go to like 8th gen because because it's probably like because it would probably bring around my brain even further, right? And I wouldn't want to become mush because of it. Maybe that's all what it is. It's just mush, just for mush into insanity. It's like. Because at least with the games, I can say that at least I know a fair bit about like video games and stuff. Those 8th gen games probably like, won't just make me stutter a lot, but it'll probably make it even dumber. But now I'm just another brain talking about other things. I don't know who. I just don't know anymore. I'm just losing my mind. I'm losing my brain. Where am I going with this? Where am I going with anything? This is 8th gen game is just depressing. It's just so depressing that it just makes me quiet. Maybe it just speaks for itself. That's it. It just speaks for itself. It's just so sad that it speaks for itself. Can't just look. It's not fun anymore. There's nothing. It's not. Nothing's ever fun. What's the point? Just cannot look myself up. Feel like a freaking joke. Pac-Man. Oh my god, I'm just starting to fucking lose it. Starting to lose it real fast. I can't look. What is my life? Why am I doing this? Where am I? Where was I going, Vanis? I'm just. Where am I going with this? Oh my god, I cannot freaking. Oh my god, I cannot look at myself like this. Oh my god, I cannot. I'm gonna breathe from this society. Just not possible. Devastating, isn't it? Devastating, isn't it? I'm just. Devastating. I cannot speak to this freaking society anymore. What the point? What's the point of me talking to other people? I'm just freaking. I gotta just. Just now. He's gonna. Ow. Of course, I'm just freaking. Dun 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 dun. I'll stop. I was like, I'm even gonna just, it's like, let's, you know what? Actually, this might be, I think what I just experienced might be probably like, probably the perfect experience right here. It just means nothing. It's all just a bunch of nothing. There's no real thing to say. It's just a bunch of nothing, but a bunch of crappy open world sandbox garbage may just be made for a quick buck while I don't even know what is my life. What's my life anymore? I'm just going peck, mac, frickin' peck, mac, frickin' peck, mac, frickin' peck, mac. What? This is why I don't talk to people. This is just because I cannot have a conversation with people. That sound like a crazy maniac. It's because I don't know what I am anymore. Am I dead now? I just in hell now. It's my life. This is my life right now. Am I just like this, or am I just? I don't know who I am anymore. I've just lost the point of myself. I don't know what my life is. Just looking at all this. Just who would actually. You just don't. I just don't. Oh. Well, is my voice annoying? Maybe that's a good thing I don't really talk all that much because my voice is probably annoying. Probably gritting your ears right now. Probably destroying your ear. Probably like obliterating your ears right now. Might as well just sue me at that point. I'm going to become a sticking point to society, right? This is just the future of me. What am I even doing in my life? What's the point? What's the point of like this? I don't even know why I don't. I should really get back to calm. Still ain't got me good at this day. Oh my god, I'm not good at calm. Just What am I? What am I? What am I? What am I? What am I doing in my life? I don't know anymore. I